Captain Taewon Park stood tall on the bridge of the UES Dauntless. His dark eyes were fixed on the main screen. The ship had been on a routine patrol near Mars when the sensors picked up something big. Very big. "Captain, the object is slowing down," said Officer Yoonji. Her fingers moved quickly over her screen. "It's not one of ours." Taewon nodded. He had been in space for 15 years. He knew every ship type that Earth had built. This was not one of them. "Full stop," he ordered. "Ready all systems, but do not aim weapons. Let's not look like a threat." The bridge crew worked fast. No one spoke much. They all felt the weight of this moment. First contact. The thing humans had wondered about for hundreds of years. "The object has stopped, sir," said Eunji. "It's 10 kilometers from us." On screen, maximum zoom. The screen showed a ship that looked like nothing made by human hands. It was at least 3 times bigger than the Dauntless. Its hull shined with a metal they had never seen before. It had no visible engines, but all over its body were what looked like weapon ports. "Sir, they're sending a signal," Yoonji said, her voice steady, despite her wide eyes. "Put it on screen." The face that appeared made several crew members gasp. It had 6 eyes set in a pattern like a flower. Its skin had a metal-like shine, and it had no nose, just small holes where a nose would be on a human. When it spoke, its mouth moved in a strange way. "Humans of Earth," it said in perfect English. "I am Ambassador Ralik of the Nelvari Dominion. We have watched your world for some time. We wish to speak about your place in the Galactic Confederation." Taewon took a deep breath. "I am Captain Taewon Park of the United Earth Ship Dauntless. We welcome you to our solar system and would be honored to talk." "Good," said Ralik. "Please come aboard our ship with a small team. We will send you docking instructions." The screen went black. Taewon turned to his crew. "Well, it seems we have guests, or we are guests. Either way, we need to get ready." 2 hours later, Taewon stood in the Dauntless's launch bay with his chosen team: Science Officer Hyunwoo Kim, Security Chief Ji-Hai Choi, and Diplomat Sang-Min Lee. All wore their best uniforms. Ji-Hai also had a standard-issue pistol on her hip. "Remember," Taewon told them, "we represent all of Earth today. Be respectful but careful. Watch what you say. We know nothing about them or what they want." The small shuttle took them across the space between the ships. As they got closer, they could see just how big the alien ship really was. It could probably hold 20 ships the size of the Dauntless. They docked without any problems. The airlock door opened to show a wide hall with tall ceilings. 3 Nelvari stood waiting. They were taller than humans by at least a foot. Their bodies were thin but looked strong. "Welcome aboard the Stellar Reach," said the one in the middle, whom Taewon guessed was Ralik. "Please follow us." The humans were led through halls that seemed to go on forever. The walls were made of the same strange metal as the outside of the ship. It seemed to glow from within. "Your ship is amazing," said Hyunwoo, his scientist's eyes trying to take in everything. "Thank you," said Ralik. "The Stellar Reach is not even one of our largest vessels. It is merely a diplomatic ship." They were brought to a large room with a round table in the middle. The Nelvari invited them to sit. Another alien came in with drinks for everyone. "Just water for now," said Ralik. "We have studied your biology, but it's best to be safe." Taewon nodded his thanks. "We appreciate your care." "Now," said Ralik, "let us talk about Earth joining the Confederation. There are many benefits, but also rules that must be followed." For the next hour, Ralik explained the Galactic Confederation. It had over 30 species from different star systems. The Nelvari were one of the founding members. They had been in space for over 2,000 years. "Your species has done well to reach Mars in such a short time," said Ralik. "But you have much to learn. We can help you grow if you accept our guidance." The way he said it made Taewon feel like a child being talked down to. He kept his face calm, but he could see Ji-Hai's jaw tighten. "We would need to discuss this with our leaders," said Sang-Min the diplomat. "This is a big step for humanity." "Of course," said Ralik, "but first let us show you more of our ship." As they walked, one of the other Nelvari noticed Ji-Hai's gun. He made a sound that might have been a laugh. You still use kinetic weapons? He said to his fellow Nelvari in their own language. The humans' translators picked it up. How cute. They shoot metal with chemical explosions. Jihai's face turned a bit red, but she said nothing. The Nelvari who had spoken pulled out his own weapon. It was a small, sleek device that fit in his palm. It hummed with a power they could feel in their teeth. This is a graviton disruptor, he said, now in English. It can change the very atoms of whatever it hits. Your bullets would be stopped by our weakest shields. Very impressive, said Taewan, keeping his voice even. He saw no need to point out that the Nelvari had been rude. We look forward to learning more about your technology. They were shown more of the ship, the engine room which had no moving parts, just glowing crystals, the medical bay, where they could regrow limbs, the bridge which was 4 times the size of the Dauntless's bridge. All the while, the Nelvari spoke as if humans were clever children who had done well for their age, but still had a long way to go. When they returned to the Dauntless, Taewan called Earth right away. The signal would take several minutes to reach home. Well? He asked his team while they waited. They're advanced, no doubt, said Hyunwoo. Their tech is beyond us by centuries. They're also full of themselves, said Jihai. Did you hear how they laughed at our weapons? Yes, said Taewan. I did. We should be careful, said Sangmin. They want something from us. Why else come all this way? And I don't like how they talk about guidance and rules. The screen lit up. It was Admiral Dae-hyun Choi from Earth Command. Captain Park, said the Admiral. Your report? Sir, we've made first contact with an alien race called the Nelvari. They invite Earth to join something called the Galactic Confederation. Taewan told the Admiral everything they had seen and heard. When he was done, the Admiral looked grave. We need you back on Earth right away for a full briefing, he said. Bring all data you have on their ship and weapons. Yes, sir. There's one more thing. Taewan paused. They think we're far behind them. They see us as primitive. The Admiral's eyes narrowed. That might not be a bad thing, Captain. Sometimes it's good if others think less of you. It means they won't see you coming. Understood, sir. We're on our way. As the Dauntless turned and headed for Earth, Taewan looked back at the massive alien ship. It hung in space like a sleeping giant. He wondered what the Nelvari really wanted, and he wondered if humanity was ready for whatever was coming next. He had a feeling they would find out soon enough. 3 months had passed since first contact with the Nelvari. Captain Taewan Park stood by the window in Earth Command's main meeting room. From here, he could see the sprawling base that had been built in record time to host the alien visitors. Beyond that was the blue ocean that reminded him of home. Captain, please join us, said Admiral Dae-hyun Choi. Taewan turned and walked to the large round table. Around it sat the most powerful people on Earth, military leaders, scientists, and government officials from all major nations. At the head of the table was President Han, her face tired but eyes sharp. What's the latest report? The president asked. Admiral Choi pulled up a map of the solar system. Red dots appeared throughout it. The Nelvari now have ships here, here, and here, he said, pointing to areas near Mars, Jupiter, and just beyond the moon. They call them peacekeeping forces, to help with our entry into the Confederation. They didn't ask our permission, said General Min Seo-yoon. They just moved in. And their demands keep growing, added diplomat Sang-min Lee. First, they wanted to study our culture. Then they needed to check our resources. Now they want control of our mining operations on the moon. They say it's to help us reach our full potential. President Han rubbed her temples. What do we know about their true intentions? Science Officer Hyunwoo Kim stepped forward. He had been studying the Nelvari technology for months. Madam President, we've learned quite a bit by watching them. The Nelvari are part of the ruling class in the Confederation, but they're not the only ones. There are 4 other species at the top. Below them are 20 more species who serve them. Serve them? The president's eyes narrowed. Like slaves? Not exactly, said Hyunwoo. More like workers. They give resources to the ruling species and get protection and some technology in return. but they have little say in how things are run. That's the place they want for us, said Taewon. At the bottom. The room was quiet as everyone took this in. There's more, Hyunwoo continued. I've been able to study their ship designs. Their hulls are made of a metal we've never seen before. Their shields can stop any energy weapon we know of, but... He paused, looking around the room. They have a weakness. Now he had everyone's attention. The Nelvari and the other Confederation species haven't used physical weapons for hundreds of years. They use energy weapons. Lasers, plasma, they're graviton disruptors. Their shields are designed to stop energy, not physical objects. You're saying our primitive weapons might actually work against them? Asked General Yoon. Hyunwoo nodded. Their hulls are thin. They don't need thick armor because no one uses kinetic weapons anymore. No one but us. Admiral Choi leaned forward. How sure are you about this? I've run tests on samples we got from their ships during the cultural exchanges. A standard armor-piercing round goes through it like paper. The room burst into talk. President Han raised her hand and everyone fell silent. This stays in this room, she said. Captain Park, what do you think? You've spent the most time with them. Taewon took a deep breath. I think they see us as children. Useful children who have resources they want, but still just children. They laugh at our technology, they think we're no threat. That might be our only advantage, said Admiral Choi. Do we have any allies among the Confederation species? Asked. The President. Diplomat Sang-min spoke up. Maybe. There's a species called the Vortani. They were one of the last to join before us. They've hinted that things are not always as the Nelvari say, but they're careful. They fear the Nelvari, as... Should we? Said General Yoon. But fear doesn't mean we just give up. The meeting went on for hours. They discussed plans, options, and ways to buy more time. By the end, they had decided to keep talking with the Nelvari, but also to quietly prepare Earth's defenses. A week. Later, Captain Taewon was given command of the UES Indomitable, Earth's newest and most advanced warship. It was still small compared to Nelvari ships, but it had been built with what they now knew about alien technology. Taewon walked through his new ship with his first officer, Ji-hee Choi, who had been promoted after their time on the Dauntless. What do you think? He asked her as they entered the weapons bay. Ji-hee looked at the rows of railguns and missile launchers. I think we're done playing nice. We're not looking for a fight, Taewon reminded her, just preparing for one. Tell that to the Nelvari, she said. Have you seen the latest demands? They want us to let them put advisors in all major Earth governments. They say it's standard practice for new members. Taewon had seen the demands. Each day, they asked for more and offered less in return. We just need to hold them off a little longer, he said, until the fleet is ready. They continued their tour of the ship. The bridge was state-of-the-art, with screens showing every part of the vessel. The engine room hummed with power from the new fusion reactors, and the crew quarters were filled with the best men and women Earth had to offer. Taewon felt proud of what humans had built. Yes, it wasn't as advanced as Nelvari tech, but it was theirs, and it might just be enough to save them. On the 32nd, day of the 3rd month since first contact, the Indomitable was on patrol near Jupiter. Taewon sat in the captain's chair drinking tea and reading reports. The bridge was quiet. Captain, called out the sensor officer suddenly, we have multiple ships dropping out of FTL travel. They're Nelvari. Taewon put down his tea. How many? 5 ships, sir. Bigger than anything we've seen before. On screen. The main screen showed 5 massive vessels. They were shaped like arrowheads, their hulls gleaming with that strange metal. They moved into a formation that surrounded the Indomitable. They're hailing us, said the communications officer. Put them through. The face that appeared on the screen wasn't Ambassador Rollick. This Nelvari wore what looked like a military uniform. Captain Park, he said. I am Commander Vex of the Nelvari, Defense Force. I bring orders from the Dominion. What orders? Asked Taewon, keeping his voice calm while his mind raced. The human governments have failed to comply with Confederation standards. They resist proper guidance. Therefore, the Dominion has decided to take direct control of Earth for its own protection. Taiwan felt a cold anger rise in him. Earth is a sovereign world. We have not agreed to any such action. Commander Vex's 6 eyes blinked slowly. Your agreement is not required. We have ships positioned throughout your system. You have 48 hours to prepare for the arrival of the new governors. Any resistance will be met with force. His voice became almost kind. Don't worry, Captain. Your primitive defenses will be disabled with minimal loss of life if you don't fight back. The screen went black. Taiwan sat very still for a moment. Then he turned to his communications officer. Send a message to Earth Command. Code Red. The Nelvari are making their move. He looked at the ships surrounding his own. They were so much bigger, so much more advanced, but maybe, just maybe, they were also overconfident. Battle stations, he ordered. And get me Admiral Choi. It's time to show these aliens what humans can do. All ships, this is Admiral Choi. Operation Slingshot is a go. I repeat, Operation Slingshot is a go. Captain Taiwan Park heard the words through his comm system. He looked around his bridge. Every face was tight with fear and hope. They had trained for this, but no one knew if it would work. You heard the Admiral, Taiwan said. Battle stations, weapons hot. The Indomitable was hiding behind one of Jupiter's moons. 4 other Earth ships were with them, spread out among different moons. Together, they formed Earth's first line of defense. Enemy ships approaching, said the sensor officer. Looks like 10 Nelvari warships headed for Earth. Taiwan nodded. They think this will be easy. Let's prove them wrong. He opened a channel to the other captains. Remember the plan. Wait until they pass our position, then hit them from behind. Target their engines first, then weapons. Fire everything we've got. Yes, sir, they all replied. The minutes ticked by. The bridge was so quiet that Taiwan could hear the soft hum of the air system. On his screen, he watched as the Nelvari fleet moved past Jupiter, not bothering to check the moons. Why would they? Humans were no threat to them. They're past us, said the tactical officer. All ships in firing position. Taiwan took a deep breath. This was it. The moment that would decide if humans would be free or slaves. Fire, he ordered. From 5 different moons, Earth ships rose up and fired their weapons. But these weren't the energy weapons the Nelvari were used to. These were old-fashioned but upgraded railguns that shot solid metal rods at incredible speeds. And mixed in with them were missiles with special warheads. The Nelvari ships had their shields up, of course. Powerful energy shields designed to stop lasers and plasma. But they weren't made to stop solid objects moving at such high speeds. Go. Railgun shots tore through the shields like they weren't even there. They punched into the thin hulls of the Nelvari ships, causing explosions and venting atmosphere into space. The missiles followed, their warheads designed by Earth's best scientists to do maximum damage to the alien ships. On the main screen, Taiwan watched as one of the enemy ships broke in half, its engines exploding in a bright flash. Direct hits on all targets, reported the tactical officer, his voice filled with surprise and joy. Their shields didn't stop our shots. They're returning fire, called out another officer. The Nelvari ships that could still fight were turning around. They fired their energy weapons at the Earth ships. The shots were powerful, but the humans had studied the alien technology. Their own shields, while not as advanced, were designed to handle energy weapons. Shields holding at 70%, reported the engineering officer. But they won't last long under this kind of fire. We don't need them to, said Taiwan. Launch second wave of missiles. All ships, break formation, and continue attack runs. The battle was fast and brutal. The Nelvari had more firepower, but the humans had the element of surprise. The aliens had not expected kinetic weapons to be so effective. They had not expected humans to be so ready. 3 of the Nelvari ships were destroyed outright. 4 more were badly damaged and trying to retreat. The last 3 were still fighting, but their fire was less coordinated now. Captain, called the communications officer. We're being hailed by the lead Nelvari ship. On screen, said Taiwan. Commander Vex appeared on the screen. His uniform was dirty and torn. Behind him, smoke filled the bridge of his ship. "What have you done?" he shouted. "How is this possible?" Taiwan looked at him calmly. "You made a mistake, Commander. You thought because our weapons were different from yours they were worse. You were wrong." "This is not over," snarled Vex. "The Dominion will send more ships. Hundreds more. You cannot win." "Maybe not," admitted Taiwan. "But we will make you pay for every inch of our solar system. And by the time you're done, you'll wonder if it was worth it." He cut the transmission. "Target their engines," he ordered. "Don't let them escape to warn the others." The Indomitable fired again, its railguns sending metal rods tearing through the Nelvari flagship. The alien ship listed to one side, its engines dark. "Sir," said the sensor officer, "the other Nelvari ships are powering up their FTL drives. They're going to run." "Let them," said Taiwan. "We need to get back to Earth. The real battle is just beginning." 3 days later, Taiwan stood in the Earth Command war room. The mood was mixed. Celebration for their victory at Jupiter, but worry about what would come next. "The Nelvari will be back," said Admiral Choi. "And they'll be ready for our weapons this time." "Yes," agreed Taiwan. "But they'll be scared, too. They thought this would be easy. Now they know it won't be." General Yoon pointed to a star map. "We've moved our fleet to these positions. We've also placed missile platforms around Earth and the Moon. But we don't have enough ships to cover the whole system." "We don't need to," said President Han. She looked tired but determined. "We just need to make them think twice about coming back." The door opened and a junior officer rushed in. "Sir, we're getting a transmission from the Nelvari." The main screen lit up, but it wasn't Commander Vex this time. It was Ambassador Rollick. "People of Earth," he said, his voice smooth but with an edge of anger. "The attack on our peaceful ships was unprovoked and unjustified." "Peaceful?" muttered Ji-hee, who stood next to Taiwan. "They were coming to take over our planet," Rollick continued. "However, the Dominion is willing to be merciful. We offer you one last chance to join the Confederation peacefully. Accept our governors, hand over your weapons, and there will be no punishment." President Han stepped forward. "Ambassador Rollick, Earth has no wish for war, but we will not surrender our freedom. We are willing to join the Confederation as equals, not as servants." Rollick's 6 eyes narrowed. "Equals? You are children playing with tools you don't understand. Your victory was luck, nothing more." "Then why are you talking to us instead of attacking?" asked the president. "Could it be that you're afraid your luck might run out before ours?" Rollick was quiet for a moment. "You have 3 days to reconsider. After that, the full might of the Dominion will fall upon you." The screen went dark. 3 days, said Admiral Choi. "That's how long it will take them to gather a large enough fleet." "Then we have 3 days to get ready," said President Han. "General Yoon, I want every weapon we have ready to fire. Admiral Choi, get our ships in position. And Captain Park?" "Yes, Madam President?" "You've seen how they fight. You know their weaknesses. I want you to come up with a plan that will make them regret ever coming to Earth." Taiwan nodded. "I already have some ideas." As the meeting broke up, Taiwan walked with Ji-hye to the planning room. "Do you think we can win?" she asked quietly. Taiwan thought about the Nelvari ships, so large and powerful. He thought about Earth, just one planet against an empire of stars. "I don't know," he said honestly. "But I know this. They might have better ships and fancier weapons, but we have something they don't." "What's that?" "Thousands of years of fighting each other. We've gotten very good at war, Ji-hye, and they're about to find that out." Ji-hye smiled grimly. "They laughed at our weapons." "Yes," said Taiwan, "but they're not laughing now." 2 days had passed since Ambassador Rollick's ultimatum. Every moment counted now. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Captain Taiwan Park studied the battle plans one more time. "They'll come through here," he said, pointing to the area just beyond, the moon's orbit. "Their ships are faster than ours. They'll want to make a quick strike at Earth itself. Lieutenant Hajun Lee, his tactical officer, nodded. They think if they take out our leaders, we'll give up. They still don't understand humans very well, said Taiwan with a small smile. Earth had spent the last 2 days preparing. Every ship had been armed with the rail guns that had worked so well at Jupiter. Missile platforms had been placed around Earth and the Moon. And in orbit, a special surprise waited for the Nelvari. Sir, called out the communications officer. Admiral Choi wants to speak with you. Put him through, said Taiwan. Admiral Choi's face appeared on the screen. Captain, our long-range sensors have detected a large fleet heading our way. At Ibo, at least 30 ships, maybe more. Taiwan felt his stomach tighten but kept his face calm. That's more than we expected. Yes, agreed the Admiral. But the plan remains the same. Your ship will lead the Jupiter group. Delay them as long as you can, then fall back to Earth. Make them chase you into our trap. Understood, sir. We won't let you down. The Admiral's face softened for a moment. I know you won't, Taiwan. Good luck. Earth is counting on you. Screen went dark. Taiwan turned to his bridge crew. You heard the Admiral, battle stations. We meet the enemy at the edge of the system. 6 hours later, the Indomitable and 5 other ships waited near the orbit of Mars. The Nelvari fleet would pass this way soon. They're coming out of FTL, reported the sensor officer. 35 ships, much bigger than the ones we fought before. Taiwan studied the tactical display. The Nelvari ships were arranged in a tight formation, their shields already up. They had learned from their first defeat. They've adjusted their shields, said Lieutenant Lee. Trying to block kinetic weapons now. Let's see how well that works, said Taiwan. All ships prepare to fire. The Earth ships had hidden themselves among the asteroids of the belt beyond Mars. As the Nelvari fleet passed by, they emerged and fired their weapons. Railguns sent metal rods flying at near the speed of light. Missiles streaked through space, each one carrying special warheads designed to confuse alien sensors. This time, the Nelvari were better prepared. Their shields blocked some of the shots, but not all. Several ships took hits, though none were destroyed. They're turning to engage, reported Lieutenant Lee. Good, said Taiwan. That's what we want. All ships, evasive maneuvers. Fall back toward Earth, make them follow us. The Earth ships turned and ran, weaving between the rocks of the asteroid belt. The Nelvari followed, firing their energy weapons. One Earth ship took a direct hit and exploded. Taiwan gripped his chair as the Indomitable shook from a near miss. Damage report. Shields at 40%, reported the engineering officer. Minor damage to the rear section. We're still in the fight. Keep us moving, ordered Taiwan. We need to draw them all the way to Earth. The running battle continued for hours. The Earth ships would turn, fire, then run again. They lost 2 more ships, but they kept the Nelvari following them, growing angrier and more careless with each failed attack. Finally, they reached the area near the Moon. Sir, called out Lieutenant Lee. All ships are in position. Operation. Hammer is ready. Taiwan nodded. Send the signal, tell Earth we're coming in hot. As the Earth ships raced toward their home planet, the Nelvari fleet followed, eager to end the fight. They didn't notice the small objects floating in space around them. Now, ordered Taiwan. All at once, hundreds of small satellites activated. Each one was simple, just a large magnetic coil and a power source. Together, they created a massive electromagnetic pulse that washed over the Nelvari fleet. The alien ship's shields were designed to stop physical objects and energy weapons. But an EMP was something different. It passed through their shields and hit their systems directly. On the tactical display, Taiwan watched as many of the Nelvari ships suddenly lost power, their engines and weapons going dark. It worked, exclaimed Lieutenant Lee. Half their fleet is disabled. And now for Phase 2, said Taiwan. All ships reverse course, attack the disabled targets first. The Earth ships turned around and charged back toward the confused Nelvari fleet. At the same time, fresh ships rose from Earth, joining the attack. This time, there was no elegant ballet of ships. It was a brutal, close-range fight. Earth ships fired their railguns at point-blank range, tearing through alien hulls. Missiles found their targets with deadly accuracy. On the main screen, Taiwan watched as one of the largest Nelvari ships broke apart, its core exploding in a silent flash. "The flagship is trying to run," reported Lieutenant Lee. "Should we pursue?" Taiwan checked the tactical display. The battle was going well, but Earth ships had taken heavy losses too. Going after the flagship might cost more than it was worth. No, he decided. Let them go. They can take a message back to the Dominion. Focus on the ship still fighting. The battle raged on. The Nelvari fought hard, their energy weapons cutting through Earth ships when they hit. But without half their fleet, and surprised by the human tactics they were losing. "Sir," called the communications officer. "Admiral Choi reports that the Southern Hemisphere missile platforms are ready to fire." "Tell them to wait," said Taiwan. "We've almost got them." Then the tactical display changed. New signals appeared coming from the direction of Venus. "More Nelvari ships," called out Lieutenant Lee. "At least 20 coming in fast." Taiwan felt his heart sink. They hadn't expected reinforcements so soon. "All ships, form up on the Indomitable," he ordered. "Prepare for—" "Sir," interrupted the communications officer. "The new ships, they're not firing at us. They're firing at the Nelvari." Taiwan stared at the screen. The new arrivals were indeed attacking the Nelvari ships, their weapons similar to the energy weapons the Nelvari used. "We're being hailed," said the communications officer, "by the lead ship of the new arrivals." "On screen," said Taiwan. The face that appeared wasn't Nelvari. It had 2 large eyes, a wide mouth, and skin that looked like polished stone. "Greetings, humans," said the alien. "I am Captain Zoral of the Vortani Defense Fleet. We come to offer assistance against our common enemy." Taiwan remembered what diplomat Sangmin had said about the Vortani, one of the newer species in the Confederation, not happy with the Nelvari's rule. "Your help is welcome, Captain Zoral," said Taiwan. "Together we can drive them from our system." The combined Earth and Vortani forces pressed the attack. The Nelvari, caught between 2 enemies, began to retreat. Ship after ship turned and fled, jumping to FTL as soon as they were clear. Within an hour, the battle was over. The space around Earth was filled with drifting debris from destroyed ships, both alien and human. "Stand down from battle stations," ordered Taiwan. His voice was tired but proud. "Send word to Earth, the Nelvari are retreating." The bridge crew cheered. They had done it. Earth was safe, at least for now. But Taiwan knew this was just the beginning. The Nelvari wouldn't give up so easily. And now that they had seen what humans could do, they wouldn't underestimate them again. Still, as he looked at the blue planet on his screen, he felt hope. Humans had faced their first real test as a species united, and they had passed. "Sir," said Lieutenant Lee, "the Vortani captain is requesting to speak with Earth's leaders. He says he has a proposal for us." Taiwan nodded. "Tell him we'll escort him to Earth. I think this is the beginning of a new chapter for humanity." As the Indomitable turned toward home, Taiwan thought about how quickly things had changed. Just a few months ago, the Nelvari had laughed at human weapons. Now they had learned a hard lesson. Sometimes the simplest tools were the most effective, especially in hands that knew how to use them. "Plot a course for Earth," he told his navigator. "Let's go home." 3 weeks after the Great Battle, Captain Taiwan Park stood in the new meeting hall built for the talks between Earth, the Vortani, and the Nelvari. Through the large windows, he could see ships from all 3 species in orbit around Earth. The sight still made him nervous, but he was getting used to it. "Captain Park," called a voice behind him. "The meeting is about to start." Taiwan turned to see diplomat Sangmin Lee. The man looked tired, but happy. He had been working day and night on the peace talks. "How do you think it will go?" asked Taiwan as they walked toward the main chamber. "Better than expected," said Sangmin. "The Nelvari are not used to losing. It has made them more willing to listen." The main chamber was a large round room with a table in the center. Around it sat representatives from Earth, the Vortani, and the Nelvari. Ambassador Ralek was there, looking much less proud than when They first met. President Han stood at the head of the table. "Let us begin," she said. "We are here to discuss the terms of peace between our worlds." Ambassador Ralek spoke first. "The Dominion has considered your actions," he said. His voice was stiff. "While we do not approve of your attack on our ships, we recognize your right to defend your territory." Taewon almost smiled. That was as close to an apology as the Nelvari would ever give. "We offer a new arrangement," continued Ralek. "Earth may join the Confederation as a full member, not as a protected world. You will have the same rights as other established species." President Han nodded. "That is acceptable, but we have conditions. Earth remains under Earth control. No Nelvari ships may enter our system without permission, and we want to know everything about the Confederation. No more secrets." Captain Zoral of the Vortani spoke next. "The Vortani support these conditions. For too long, the ruling species have kept knowledge from the rest of us. This must change." The talks went on for hours. Taewon watched as the future of Earth was decided. The Nelvari gave in on many points, something they had never done before. The defeat had shaken them. Finally, all sides agreed to a treaty. Earth would join the Confederation, but as an equal, not a servant. The Nelvari would share their technology, and in return, humans would share their expertise in fields they had mastered. As the meeting ended, Taewon found himself face to face with Ambassador Ralek. "Captain Park," said the Nelvari, "your tactics in battle were unexpected." "You mean they worked?" said Taewon. "Yes." Ralek's 6 eyes blinked slowly. "We have not faced kinetic weapons in many generations. We forgot how effective they can be. A mistake we will not make again." "There's a saying on Earth," said Taewon. "Sometimes the old ways are best." Ralek made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Indeed, your species continues to surprise us. Perhaps that is why the Vortani were so quick to ally with you. They too know what it is like to be underestimated." As the Nelvari walked away, Captain Zoral approached. The Vortani's stone-like skin gleamed in the light. "Captain Park," he said warmly, "my people owe you a debt. The Nelvari have ruled the Confederation for too long. Your victory has opened the door for change." "We just wanted to protect our home," said Taewon, "and in doing so, you may have freed many worlds." Zoral placed a hand on Taewon's shoulder. "The Vortani would be honored to have humans as allies." "And friends," added Taewon. Zoral nodded. "Yes, friends." Later that day, Taewon met with Admiral Choi, Science Officer Hyun-woo Kim, and Security Chief Ji-hai Choi on the deck of the Indomitable. "So it's official," said Ji-hai. "Earth is now part of a galactic civilization." "Yes," said Admiral Choi, "though I suspect the Confederation will be different now than it was before." Hyun-woo nodded excitedly. "The Vortani have already started sharing their technology with us, and there are other species in the Confederation who want to meet with humans. They're curious about us." "Because we fought back," said Ji-hai. "Because we won," corrected the Admiral. Taewon looked out the viewport at Earth below them. It looked so small from up here, so fragile, yet it had stood against the might of an advanced alien empire and survived. "What happens now?" asked Ji-hai. "Now we learn," said Taewon. "We explore. We meet new species and new worlds, but we also stay ready." "Ready for what?" asked Hyun-woo. "For anything," said Taewon. "The universe is bigger than we ever imagined, and not always friendly." The Admiral nodded. "That's why the President has approved the expansion of our fleet. The Indomitable will be the first of many new ships, and you, Captain Park, will lead our first mission beyond our solar system." Taewon felt a mix of excitement and fear. "Where will we go?" "The Vortani have invited us to visit their homeworld," said the Admiral. "It's a chance to build our first real alliance." Ji-hye smiled. "From fighting for survival to exploring the stars, all in a few months. That's the thing about humans," said Hyun-woo. "We adapt quickly." The four of them stood in silence for a moment, looking at the stars that now seemed so much closer than before. "There's one more thing," said the Admiral. "The Nelvari scientists have been studying the battle. Do you know what they found most surprising about our victory?" "What?" asked Taiwan. "Not the weapons," said the Admiral. "They expected us to adapt those eventually. No, what surprised them was our willingness to work together. All the nations of Earth united against a common threat. They thought we would fight among ourselves. They don't understand humans very well," said Jihai. "No," agreed Taiwan. "They don't. We may fight each other, but when faced with an outside threat, we stand together. A lesson they won't forget," said the Admiral. As the others left to prepare for the upcoming mission, Taiwan stayed on the deck, watching Earth turn below. He thought about how close they had come to losing everything, how the arrogance of the Nelvari had given humans the one advantage they needed. In the end, it wasn't just the weapons that had saved Earth. It was the Nelvari's inability to see humans as equals. Their belief that older meant weaker. Their failure to understand that sometimes the simplest solution was the best. They had laughed at human weapons, seeing them as primitive and outdated. But those same weapons had won the day. Taiwan smiled. The universe was full of wonders and dangers, but humans were ready to face them both. And any species that underestimated them in the future would learn the same hard lesson the Nelvari had. Sometimes the old ways were best, and sometimes the most dangerous opponent was the one you laughed at. Earth had earned its place among the stars, not through superior technology or ancient wisdom, but through courage, creativity, and the willingness to fight for what was theirs. It was a good beginning. Taiwan turned from the viewport and headed to the bridge. There was much to do before their journey to the Vortani homeworld. A new chapter for humanity was about to begin, and he, for one, couldn't wait to see what happened next. The end.